see what comes out of it. You want to?
Okay.
We're looking.
Good.
There it is. Hi, guys.
Hello, everybody.
You know this guy, Billy Green, come out to visit today. I like that. You know, we get together and Billy says, cuss and discuss. That's what we do. A little bit here and there. We get to talking things coming down here. Things that God's got for us now versus what He'll have for us in the future. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, we was just talking about everything that we look at that we think so beautiful now, and to think that, yeah, this isn't anything to what He has prepared for us.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Listened to Martin the other day. He was talking about the cities, you know, where he was living. There's some beautiful cities out there. The architect that they man's put their knowledge in and all that. All these massive buildings that just goes on, the skyscrapers. How it's all going to be leveled.
Yeah.
And just be eradicated, taken down. But our realm is inheriting the heavens.
Yeah, we was talking about that up there earlier too, that I think it was Dean and Chris talked about that, how we're number one, and it's like, yeah, how awesome is that to think about that we are number one. We were chosen before Israel.
Yep.
And that He's got a great plan for us, and it's like, it's just incredible. I can't wrap my head around it.
There's a lot to it, ain't there?
Oh yeah, I try to think about, oh well, yeah, what exactly is the Spirit, and yeah, what's it going to be like to be a celestial? And it's like, I don't know, but I guess it's going to be great.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Yeah, we've been predestined for that.
Yep.
Chosen in Him before this disruption of the world. Some people can't see that. It comes across as a fairy tale. I mentioned it before. People think, well, that's a fairy tale. You know, once upon a time book. You look at the resurrection of Christ. You know, yeah, they say, yeah, I believe that. But then do you believe that also that we're going to be, you know, the time's coming when the same Spirit that roused Him, Christ, from among the dead lives in us? And that same Spirit will be vivifying us also. Do we really believe it's going to happen, and while we're still alive, we're going to be taken out of here? Yeah, I do. I know that to be true. But to some, it's like, well, it's a fairy tale. You know, it won't happen. Not in our lifetime. Maybe 500 years, you know. Be another 500 years before Christ comes back. And I know people that believe that, wholeheartedly believe that.
Well, speaking of not believing, kid I worked with, Yankton, he's an atheist. He doesn't really believe, you know. Well, I guess when he was younger, he went to church with the family and all that, and then he just couldn't buy into that whole hell thing and all that.
Oh, yeah.
So he actually just ended up going, I don't believe in any of this. And so he actually, yeah, now, I mean, if you didn't believe it, all is all like a fairy tale.
Yeah.
You know, it's only by faith. It's like, oh, okay, so the waters parted at the Red Sea, people walked through it. Oh, and
yeah.
Jonah got swallowed by the whale. He goes, those are all fairy tales. In fact, his he finally let his girl go to church with one of her friends, and then she came home telling him about Jonah and this big fish swallowed. Well, I guess he went and confronted that guy that told her all that. He said, don't ever be telling my daughter these fairy tales and making like they're true.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
you know, the non-belief, and it's like, well, now I realize that, I mean, Brother Yankee, he is such a good boy. He doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. He even played in a band, and but he's good. He, you know, I guess maybe because he doesn't really believe in anything, that Satan don't have to attack him.
Maybe.
But, you know, whatever reason, but You know, I just know he's good, and so he's actually better off that he's staying out of church.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
He's just
Yeah.
better off not listening to all that, going to hell. And
You don't have none of that stuff in his mind.
right, yeah. So he'll be pretty easy to be changed at the
You don't
last
have all
day.
that
Yeah.
negative stuff in him.
Yeah.
All that doctrine stuff. Yeah. That's true. I've got our youngest son believes that before Christ, there's a story somewhere. I don't know how he gets this mythology stuff, but he was saying something about the Jesus coming, then rose from the dead, goes back in, and it's the same story repeated before the birth of Jesus, back in mythology, whatever it was. He called off the era, and it happened back then. And so the Christians people picked it up and they brought it in and started teaching it, and the Bible picked up on it and all that. And I can't understand how they get so wrapped up in this stuff and not look around and realize that, you know, God created. This was all a creation. It wasn't happenstance. It didn't have a big bang that blew things apart and that come together in this perfect earth, as wide as it is, and all the things that's on it. That the man can't even create a blade of grass. You know, he can't even do that. And how the death and resurrection of Christ was a fable that was carried on from centuries before. And how he believes that. You know, I can't understand. But you know, God locks them all up in stubbornness.
Yep.
And he gives us all the measure of faith to believe. You know, it's all measured out. He gives us the measure. Some will have it now and some will get it later, each in their own time. And that's what 1 Corinthians 15 says.
Yep, and I can't think of the scripture
Each
that
in their
says
own.
he draws us or drags us. You know, there's no, the whole choice thing. I was telling Sam the other day, I was like, well, son, look at this. Think about this. Everybody thinks, oh, well, they get to choose to follow Jesus. I said, well, what did Jesus pull the disciples out of the synagogues and the temple? No.
Right.
He went out to the old working man, saw those guys, went down by the waters and called fishermen of men, which these days would be like calling the old plumber or the old carpenter, you know?
Right.
It's like he called them, he chose them. They didn't have anything to do with that. And of course,
Yeah.
I've been in a really big contest with that. My other son, Billy, we've talked about that before. He just thinks that, oh, well, it's your choice, and oh, Dad, you better start believing. You're going to find out there's a real hell when you get there one of these days. And it's like, oh my goodness. Just blind, like Israel's blind right now. The world's blind too, and only by God's choosing to,
Right.
like me and you, get to know this knowledge.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Come out of the worldwide church. We both come out of the worldwide. And Billy hung around a little longer than I did. They liked it so much they hung around.
Yeah. Well, we didn't do nothing dumb to get kicked out.
You all didn't question anything. You stayed true to
True to whatever they told us.
their doctrine. You stay in there, old Dad.
What's your dad? He decided, no. Yeah, I ask a few questions and get kicked out. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Religion, to do that. It's like...
Well, that's in any church, isn't it?
Yeah.
You ask questions and
If
they dock you.
Yeah. So it's like, how crazy is
Set
that?
you
It's
off
like,
to the
why
side.
wouldn't they try to at least talk with you and try to get you to understand their way, instead of just, oh, well, you're asking too many questions, you're out
You guys
here.
get on out of here.
Yeah.
And then they tell the rest of them, now stay away from the Nazis.
Yeah.
They're bad folk.
Yeah.
They got the demons of, I don't know what they
joined
said.
the dark side.
No telling what they said about us, but
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about that the other day, that's a shame. I mean, my parents and your parents, they were the closest of our friends. And then when you guys got kicked out, my mom and dad never did
That was it.
see your mom and dad again. Of course, I'm kind of a rebel. I kept sneaking around and seeing them. And
Yeah, you a rebel, all right. You smoked.
yeah.
Should have got smoking.
Oh,
Well, it's amazing to know that we have been justified. Sin is no longer a part of of who we are.
right.
You know, we don't dwell on that. It's not part of us.
When he looks upon us now, he looks upon his son, in which we are going to be sons.
We are.
And it's like, yeah, how great is that? But yeah, we're still going to sin, but he doesn't look at us. We're not
No.
sinners. We've been forgiven of all that.
Yeah, taking care of it.
You know, does that mean, oh, we get to go ahead and go out there and be dumb? It's like, well, no, we still should try to watch our words, watch how much we drink, watch how much we smoke, watch how much we curse, watch how much evil. I mean, we are supposed to be representatives of Christ, so it's like, well, you know, we're supposed to try to change some of those habits and pray that we can. We'll still all sin, but it's like, well, we shouldn't just blatantly do dumb stuff.
Well, we got the law of the land to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, if you go out here and you do things that's against the law of the land, you're going to pay the price for that. You're going to pay the penalty for that.
Yeah, if you go out and steal, you're going to end up going to jail.
Yeah, there's penalties to all that. Law of the land.
So.
And God, when he, when Christ was on the cross, you know, God through him conciliated himself to the world through Christ. Took care of all that. Sin thing was done away with in God's eyes. And mankind had, when they realize that, when they see that, then of course there's a reconciliation. But people don't know that. They can't see. Churches never teach about that.
Right.
I don't ever remember hearing a preacher talk about we've been freed from sin.
No. They never talk about that.
They don't talk about that.
No. Well, they want to keep you hemmed in on that sin thing so they can try to, well, reel you along and keep you where they want you.
Yeah.
They don't want you to know, but it's like, oh, well, you need to come to church so you can be free of that sin. And it's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
I remember being in the men's group, well, it was a Monday night group that get together. And we sat there among ourselves and say, well, but we need to get Brother, what's his name, back into church because he's really wandered off. You know, he's backslidden. He's really backslidden. And, you know, going through so much stuff. We need to get him back in and get him plugged in. You know?
Yeah.
They was afraid if somebody died without being plugged in, that they'd be burning in hell.
Yeah.
But they would just talk about it. You know, if we could just get Brother whoever in here and get his life right, you know, how much better would we feel? How much better would we be? You know, and all that. We had a hand in helping God save this guy.
And how much better would we be if we could get him start doing his tithes and offerings? That would sure help out too.
Yeah, get that going too. So there's that. You got to have that offering going on.
I still can't believe that preacher there where I went. It's like, he told me to forget everything because, you know, he knew my Sabbath and all that that I'd done. He's like, well, you need to just forget about all that. You know, that's Old Testament. But then, next thing was, oh, but, you know, we need to tithe. And it's like, well, that was an Old Testament law too. But, no, we want to get rid of all of them but the tithing thing.
We got to keep that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I always found that amusing. It's like, forget everything, but don't forget about the tithe now. Although that was Old Testament, well, you know, then they use that verse in the New Testament that's talking about Melchizedek, I think, and Abraham giving him that tithe. And it's like, well, Abraham, if you read that, didn't give him the gross of what? No, they had just conquered and won a battle, and they just gave them the extra excess stuff they
from
had.
the battle.
Yeah.
They got no need of this here.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Wasn't their personal belongings, the stuff that they had that they lived off of. No, that was extra.
Yeah.
That they gave. But yeah, that I always found that amusing. Forget everything but the tithe.
Yeah, got to keep that. Got to keep that money coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Worldwide Church pushed a lot of that Old Testament stuff. I don't remember them pushing the circumcision though. Did they have something against that?
Well, who knows? I mean, a lot of babies got circumcised in the church, but it wasn't like a commanded thing, I don't think.
Teaching, was it? I don't know.
I mean, I was. But
that's one of them things, you know.
Well, they kind of, Mike, it's the whole thing. I was thinking about that, and I even looked up the scriptures of the holy days again.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, how did they say we were keeping all this when, you know, they didn't circumcise, and they didn't, they wanted to take up an offering on that holy day. But it's like, there was more to that. They had to burn that incense and had to burn this and do that. And it's like, well, how could we actually think we were keeping the holy day when we only, took up an offering? When there was so much more detail that went into that stuff, their offerings, you know?
All I know as a kid growing up in that their church services was long.
Oh, yeah.
They like to talk.
Especially when Waterhouse or Blackwell or one of them came. Heck, we allowed to have a 3-hour service. I think that Waterhouse guy came that once and we had a 4-hour service.
Well, see, they get a mint. They got a trick, them preachers do. They get this little mint and they put it in their mouth, and when it dissolves, their time is up. Well, some of them preachers use buttons. They put a button in their mouth, and that's mint, and it would dissolve.
Yeah. Well, they just felt they had all this information we needed to know, and it's like, no, we didn't. So that's why, like you do, Martin does, everybody, do a 18-minute video, and at the longest 25.
That's long, yeah.
Because people, our minds, we're not geared up to sit and like actually drink all that in a 3-hour service. No. Are you kidding me?
No. People lose. You know, look here, we're almost 18 minutes into this. You know, our attention span ain't much more than 15.
Right. Yeah.
And who wants to watch a couple old hillbillies sit back there on a pond bank jabbering? So we better wrap this one up.
All right, yeah, we better. Everybody's going to be shutting
you all
this off
be saying, all right, that's enough of that. Get that, you clowns.
Well, anyway, I want to say to all the folks I met at the conference, it was really nice to meet you. Yeah, I took down a lot of addresses and emails, but I haven't yet got round to answering everybody. But I will, and it was sure good to see everybody, and sorry for you folks that couldn't make it. It was an awesome turnout, an awesome event. Yep, we had a good time. And Billy done a lot for us, Marcia and I. He helped us here at the house a lot. He was a runner. He done things behind the scenes that I didn't know was going on. And Marcia told me later, you know, Billy was doing all the cleaning up and keeping people going and moving this and moving that. He was a busy person in there. And, you know, I appreciate what you done. It was awesome. So, okay. Anyway, let's go see what God's got for us. Let's go see what the rest of the evening holds. Let's go see. We'll see y'all later. See you later. Talk to you later.